why I do have a radio show, because all of that stuff, I mean, yeah, obviously the two movies I talked about, or all three of them I talked about, I was involved in somewhat. Obama Deception being the least of which, but at least I did watch it and obviously helped with some of the footage and things like that. I, produced Fabled Enemies, I produced Loose Change Final Cut, wrote a lot of it. I wrote and directed Fabled Enemies. Of course I'm going to know those. But guys, the Bilderberg Group? Come on, Lori. You're killing me. You're killing me.
About that Mark Dice one. That was pretty rough. I didn't know.
You didn't know the Mark Dice one? Really? I had him on twice last week.
True.
Yeah, but you might have been gone one of those days. Yeah, what can you do? All right, let's hit some serious news here. You know what? Let's go over more of these terrorism drills, because really I only went over in depth this California drill. And in fact, this New York drill is really the one that I'm very concerned about. Not because I think anything's going on, but because it always makes me uncomfortable when they're saying, oh, someone could blow up the Holland Tunnel. If you've ever been in the Holland Tunnel, your fears of just all of a sudden it collapsing or some water pouring through. I mean, you're trapped in the Holland Tunnel, folks. You're under the ocean, Or I might be under the Hudson, actually. You're not under the ocean. You're under the Hudson River. I mean, it's scary. I mean, you go through it. I can't imagine if someone blew up the Holland Tunnel. That would be a big deal. Authorities have warned people about a huge emergency response drill set for New York City's World Trade Center on Sunday, seeking to avoid panic like one caused by an unannounced flyover by a U.S. presidential plane. Oh, now they're saying that was a drill. Of course it was. It was a PSYOP drill. It had nothing to do with a photo op. Let me repeat that. Nothing to do with a photo op. That was bull. Jason, they love us. More than 800 emergency responders, mostly police and firefighters, will practice responding to a simulated explosion on commuter train in the tunnel below the Hudson River that separates New York from New Jersey. The drill is set to run from 6 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and at a transit hub, which is surrounded by construction sites for skyscrapers and a memorial for victims of the September 11, 2001 attacks. People will see and hear lots of sirens and lots of emergency responses. And I guarantee this will be somewhat of a psyop too, because most people in the city won't know this is going on, and they are going to see how people act. Said Steve Coleman, a spokesperson for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which owns the World Trade Center site and operates the Trans-Hudson commuter line. So I guess they're going to blow up the train station and not the Holland Tunnel you drive through. So that is a little less scary. I'm not going to lie. You're really not aware where you are when you're on a subway train because you're underground. The World Trade Center site has been attacked twice, first by a truck bomb in 93 and then in September 11th attacks to destroy the Twin Towers in 2001. Both by the feds, by the way. Both by this international intelligence cartel that I like to call the Invisible Empire. That's who did it. Wasn't Muslims in a cave. I hate to tell you. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm not happy about it. I promise you that. Since then, Madrid, London, and Mumbai have been hit by these same invisible empire people. Oh, no, wait. Oh, they're not saying that. Oh, hit by attacks on their transit systems, putting New York on alert. On April 27th, a plane used by President Barack Obama, trailed by a fighter jet, flew low over the Statue of Liberty near the World Trade Center site. No, it wasn't just over the Statue of Liberty. See how they tried to change things? It was throughout the city's skyline. It was going past buildings. If they wanted to do that by just the Statue of Liberty, which I've been inside of, by the way, as a young lad, let me tell you, it was tough. It was like a 4.5 hour walk to get up into the. I think I got up into the Crown because they were renovating the torch, and they actually had the old torch right in the lobby when you got there. I still remember it to this day because I was with my pops and my brother and sister, and I said "yo" to one of the people that worked there, asking him about something, and my father's just like, "You don't talk like that," and gave me a little slap on the back of the head, and the guy's like, "Oh, don't you worry. A lot of people say a lot worse things to me." Wasn't used to the yo talk, and to this day I use yo. But it turned out the flight, which was not announced to the public, had been staged for a photo shoot. Total lies. There are no photos. The only photos are the ones that the people in New York City took. There's no photo shoot. I mean, come on. The aide who authorized the flyover resigned on May 8th. Oh, yeah, like an aide is the one that authorized a psychological operation on the people. Give me a break. Give me a break. Saying the controversy made it impossible for him to lead the White House military office. Coleman said the warnings issued ahead of Sunday's event were not necessarily related to that snafu. We have done similar drills with similar types of warnings. Obviously, this is a bigger scale drill, so we are doing a little bit more. I don't think it's strictly because of what happened 2 weeks ago with the flyover. Yeah, right. And like we said, we have those drills going on in Flint, Michigan as well, all leading up to this summer super exercise of National Level Exercise 09, NLE 09. All local governments, all state governments, all federal agencies will be involved. DHS oversight with FEMA. And let's not forget the international intelligence organizations and private sector that will also be aboard for NLE 09. Remember, the United Kingdom, Mexico, Australia, Canada, and the U.S. with FEMA to prevent terrorism. We have to be very aware of that massive exercise that will probably intertwine a lot of smaller exercises like the ones we're seeing this weekend. And the reason we report on this is because it's to prepare the public for what is coming from this invisible empire. These globalists, the people that really call the shots, not just some puppet with a smile named Barack Obama, friends. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. All right, folks, we're going to go back to your calls in a moment. But, I just had to play this clip of a teacher kicking a 5-year-old girl in the face because I think she went to the bathroom without permission or she went to the hallway without permission. A 5-year-old girl gets booted in the face by a teacher. Talk about the end of America and everything that's good. Hit the clip.
The incident happened on April 16th. According to police, the child came home with a cut on her mouth and told her mother that the teacher, 56-year-old Jean Dorville, kicked her in the face during nap time because she went to the bathroom without permission. Dottie Ferguson is a little girl's great-grandmother.
I think it's awful to be happening at a school. Other places, you can kind of see it, because you don't know who's coming out from where. But at a school, that's the last place.
Head Start is a federally funded early learning program administered by Miami-Dade County. Most of its centers share campuses with local elementary schools. Dorville has been a Head Start teacher for more than 20 years. Julie Edwards runs the county department that oversees Head Start. She says the school notified DCF as soon as the parent reported the incident and began its own investigation. But Edwards says reports that fellow teachers knew of the incidents and failed to report them are untrue.
I am not aware that anyone in our schools were aware of any kickings or allegations of kicking taking place.
So is this Head Start or head kicked? I mean, this is a child kicked in the head. I mean, what are they exactly getting a head start on? Contusions to their face? It's beyond the pale. I had to play that. We're going to be playing some other video clips that surprisingly aren't getting any coverage in the mainstream media, other than the one thing that I saw. I know that we're buddies with Saudi Arabia, and by the way, I'm no fan of the Saudis. I'm no fan of a lot of these Middle Eastern dictatorships, by the way, folks. It's not that I love the Taliban or I love Pakistan. I don't. Okay? And I especially don't love the policy they have over in Saudi Arabia that it's okay for Saudi royalty to torture people on video. I mean, just one little slip, this guy is dead. And maybe they should have just killed him because the things that they do to him, I'll tell you right now, someone does this to me and I know who you are, I'm coming for you. You don't let me live because I'm going to find out where you are and I'm not going to torture you. You're just done. You're done. I know that Jason Bermas threatens those who would torture him. When you see what happens to this guy, they take a machine gun and start machine gunning right next to him all over. I mean, the guy literally thinks he's going to be shot to death. Then when he's not shot to death, he's held down and forced to take sand in his mouth. Oh, that's not enough for you? Well, how about getting beat with a board with a nail in it repeatedly, and then after you get beat with a board with a nail in it, they pour salt in the wounds, literally, as the Saudi royalty requests that they keep the tape so he can watch it later. What the hell is wrong with people? But it's not shocking. I mean, we have tapes of much worse going on in Abu Ghraib, and guess what? It ain't no Saudi Arabian that's doing it. It's our U.S. soldiers raping young children on tape. But we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about how Obama won't release the new photos. Do you really need to see new photos of torture when we know that they raped children on tape? Is it time to get out of Afghanistan and Iraq? You bet your ass it is. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. Well, the sky is over, especially when they're shooting chemtrails into it on a daily basis. But I know some people will call in and tell me that chemtrails don't exist either. Okay. Folks, on the other side, we're going to play this torture clip of this Saudi Arabian. But I want to point out the hypocrisies of the term New World Order and how it's being used. Now it's starting to get into the public consciousness because people like Gordon